Alright gang, welcome back to Hansens Speed Shop. It's time for another little update video on the hot rod project. So if you remember in the last video, we were trying to get this thing to start and I wasn't getting any spark. So I started going through like everything. So got a brand new coil and I checked, we do have spark from the coil to the distributor itself. I made a new wire from the coil to the distributor. This distributor is actually not the one that was in here. I found this one on eBay for like 60 bucks. So I picked it up because it looked like a lot nicer shape than the one that I had. I thought I'll just try that. Everything looked a lot cleaner and nicer. So I thought for 60 bucks we'll give it a shot. If anything, then I have a spare. Put that on. Everything's adjusted properly. We got spark at the points, the cap's new. We got spark at the ends of the wires. We got all new spark plugs. Everything's gapped correctly. So basically now what I've been doing is just trying to play with the timing and see if we can get it to do anything. Yesterday when I was playing around with it, I got like a little bit of a backfire through the carburetor, so we're getting there. Something's happening. But the problem I'm having now is the battery keeps going dead, so I got the generator running, powering the battery charger, keeping the battery charged. And the starter is starting to get pretty weak. And this starter that was on the car was like not good to begin with. I had to smack it with a hammer just to initially get it to start rolling the engine over. So I think we're gonna have to put a new starter on here, which I kind of was planning on doing eventually anyway. Just because the one that's on here I was originally gonna run, but it's kind of a pile of crap. So if I could have get the thing started and running with that on there, we just would run it for now. But I think I think I'm gonna kill it before that happens. So we're gonna have to throw a new starter on here. But otherwise, that's where we're at with the engine. I also kind of cleaned up the plug wires, got everything routed really nice. I got the spark plug wire covers off the valve covers right now, just because for testing purposes, pulling plugs in and out. It's just made that easier. Also, last weekend I got my new shocks for the car, so I decided to go with these AFCO shocks, the chrome and polished ones, and I threw those on the car. And it helped out a little bit to getting the car level. I do got the front of the car jacked up a little bit, but as you can see, the car is sitting pretty level now. It used to sit kind of like this in the back. Now it's pretty good. I could totally live with that. So I don't know how well we could see under here, but got new coilover shocks in the back. That was an ordeal to swap those out. Pretty much had to take the whole, just because of lack of tools and this working situation in here and the way this car is set up. To do those shocks was an ordeal because we had to basically support the body because there's nowhere to jack up on the frame, and then take the back wheels off, unhook the shocks, unbolt them, and then basically had to drop the rear end down on the ground so that we could get it lined up so I could mount the tops of the shocks up on the frame and then get them where I needed to mount them to the rear end and then put everything all back together. So that literally took all day. But it's just basically, that's kind of like the reality of car building. Working on these old cars or motorcycles or anything mechanical, especially when you're doing stuff from scratch, kind of like I've been doing on here, where you're taking off what was on there and going a completely different route. Stuff just takes a long time because you have to figure everything out. You have to make parts. You have to search out what would work. You have to do research. You have to engineer stuff. You have to take stuff on and off 100 times and get it to fit right. So stuff just takes a really long time, and I don't have a ton of time. Like, I've only been working on this on the weekends, so that's why it's been taking a lot longer. But basically, since I got the car to today, has been about 4 months, so I've gotten a lot of work done in those 4 months. Once we get the thing started and running, we'll probably have to do a little bit of tuning. Then we got to tackle the grill shell and that whole project yet. And then there's just some little cosmetic things around the car that I want to do yet. But once we get the car to that stage, I've got some future plans. Like, I want to do something else different with the exhaust, and some other little cosmetic things in the interior. So, but right now the main focus is trying to get this started. So I'm going to be on hold now for a few days till I get a new starter. So I don't think this thing's it's just barely like rolling this big old Hemi over. It just doesn't have enough oomph, and I can only crank on it a little bit and it starts kind of locking up and stuff. So I just don't think we're going to be able to get this thing started with that weak ass starter. So I think I might go with like a high torque mini starter. This starter that's on here is pretty big. It kind of just barely fits in here, and I'd like something with a little bit more oomph to roll this big engine over. So I'm kind of doing some research of because this has an adapter to run with the Chevy transmission, so I'm not exactly positive as what flywheel is in here. So I got to make sure that whatever starter I get is going to work with the flywheel and this adapter plate that's on here. So I can't just order up like a starter for this engine because it might not work with that setup. Again, stuff like that, gotta do more research, takes time, but we are making progress. Just lots of little stuff that's gotten done on the car. Like last time we redid the whole fuel line, all the fuel fittings and everything, so we don't have any more leaks, so that's been good. Throttle setup's working really good now, got that all adjusted. But just been going through everything and making it right. Like, I'm trying not to rush just to get this thing done. I mean, I want to get it done and get it running yet this summer, but I want to do it right, and I don't want to have to go back and redo stuff and just rush. So it's taking a little bit longer than I planned, but that's kind of normal with this sort of thing. So that's that's my rant for the day. I think we'll pick back up on it once either I make some more progress or I get my new starter. Alright guys, so I got the old starter out of the car, and I'll show you the new one because you guys are in for a treat. So I decided to go with PowerMaster. Really good starters, and I got the high torque mini starter, and wait for it. Oh, check that out. Coughed up the extra coin and got the super bitchin' all chrome one, so that is gonna look so awesome on this car. So I basically just gotta throw that one back on now, and then we can get back to trying to get this thing started. Alright gang, so we got the new chrome starter on there. It looks amazing. Works super good. It's rolling this thing over no problem, like 5 times faster than the old starter did. So that's working really good. I just got the battery charger going, charging the battery up, and then I'm going to continue trying to play with our timing and hopefully get this thing to make some noise and come to life. So I guess we'll check back in once I get something to happen. So keep your fingers crossed. and hopefully we'll get this thing to fire up. All right, gang, so right now I'm letting the battery charge up, and I've determined that we are just way off on timing. So I need to find our true top dead center on our compression stroke. So I'm waiting for, I ordered a top dead center tool for a Hemi from Jegs, and it might be coming in the mail today yet, I'm not sure. So we'll find top dead center, and then that'll get us a more accurate reading as far as how far we are off on our timing, because I'm almost 100% sure that's what our problem is. And I'm also just letting the battery charge up because the battery went so dead. I can only crank on it a couple times and it would like go dead again. So I'm just gonna let it charge up all day today, and we'll find top dead center and then adjust our timing. But I want to show you guys some cool stuff I picked up about a couple weeks ago at the Simcoe Hot Rod Weekender at the flea market. So I found this cool old school style helmet that's like the exact same color as this car. It's a little off, but it's pretty darn close, and it's just gonna be like kind of a little display thing just to kind of go with this whole car and look sweet. So I picked that up, and then I picked up this cool old license plate from 1961 with a 62 sticker on it. So I put that on the car for now, just for display. So I think it just goes with the whole era of this style car. So once I get the timing adjusted, we'll check back. Yes, guys, success. She finally fired up, and holy shit, did it blow. I'll show you guys, hold on. I don't know how well you could see, but it blew a ton of shit out of the exhaust, but I am so happy. So what I ended up doing was I pulled this valve cover off, found top dead center, checked the timing, and it actually was where it needed to be. The problem was we were just one plug wire off, so I just had to move the plug wires one over and put everything back together. Sprayed a little starting fluid in there, and she cracked right off. Like, I just turned the key and she popped right off. So awesome, 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 awesome. It seems like we've got fuel at the fuel pump, and I can see because I've got that clear bowl now. The fuel looks like a funny color. That's because I have an additive in the fuel, and it turns it kind of this yellowy color, but it's not dirty or anything. So we do have fuel at the pump, but it seemed like as soon as it would run out of the starting fluid, the motor would cut off. So I might have to do a little playing around with the carbs, which I totally expected to do. The timing still might be off a little bit, but now at least that we got it running. Once I get it running long enough, we'll throw a timing light on it and get this thing perfect. But I think we're gonna call this one a absolute major victory, guys. So that's gonna do it for this one. Next time, hopefully we'll get this thing to move out of the garage now, finally under its own power. And then I got to add coolant yet. Check the transmission fluid. We were having a problem too. I noticed when it was running, it was like, this is a really low compression Hemi, but it was like blowing the dipstick here. We're getting some blow by through our spark plug tubes and stuff, so I got to do a little bit of checking here. I don't think it's anything major. This didn't fit really good on here anyway. It just doesn't fit on here really good, so I might put like a piece of hose or something on there to hold that down. And then I think once I put the spark plug wire covers on, it'll hold these little rubber seals down better. But awesome, guys. Leave a comment below. Tell me what you think. Congratulate me on months worth of work to get to this point. Hit the subscribe button. Go check out the channel for a ton of other cool stuff. And we'll definitely be doing more with this car, especially now that she starts up and is running. I don't know if it's running good, but it's running, so we're gonna call that a win. Until next time, guys, get out, work on your own projects, get those hands dirty and greasy, stay cool, and we'll catch you cats on the next one. Thanks for watching.